All right, moving on in geometry, we're going to talk more about categories for two-dimensional figures. Again, categories being like different features or different traits that each of these shapes has. So again, we're going beyond just memorizing a shape, like a name, just by looking at it. We're kind of figuring out why it became that or what classifies it as that shape. So let's go with our warm-up. They meet shape in two ways. So for this one, again, it's instead of kind of going over the basics, we're just kind of sort of go right into it as far as what these are. I know the first shape here is what they call a parallelogram. And a parallelogram is any shape that has two pairs of parallel sides. So this side and this side, those are both parallel. It's also known as a quadrilateral. And quad means four, so four-sided figure. Over here at B, this we know is a square. This also qualifies as one of the quadrilaterals, but we also know from the previous lesson is that this can also be considered a rectangle because a rectangle has an object with four right angles, two pairs of parallel sides, and straight lines there like that. Over here is an actual rectangle. And the thing with this one, a rectangle can't qualify as a square since these sides right here are longer than the other sides. So this is a rectangle and a quadrilateral. So what we can say is technically B can also be any one of these three. But it only asks us for two, so that's why we went with that. But just a refresher on what a parallelogram is, what a quadrilateral is, and the difference between squares and rectangles, and also how a square can be a rectangle. This lesson will start on page 579. And so a hierarchy is like a ranking, and it orders these categories from most general to most specific. So general just means very basic. Specific means like really precise. So over here, I'd like you to write the word general and then draw an arrow down like this to talk about very precise or specific. So for this one, for example, if it's four sides, it's a quadrilateral. If it's let's get more specific. If it has two pairs of parallel sides for that quadrilateral, they are parallelograms. And if that parallelogram has four right angles, that's a rectangle. And if that rectangle has four sides of equal length, it's a square. So you can see that the rules or the details of each of these things gets much more specific as we get deeper into that Venn diagram. So just keep that in mind. And we can use that Venn diagram we just filled in to do this part here. So category for his quadrilaterals, they're four sides. A subcategory, or a second part of our Venn diagram, are parallelograms. And there are four sides and two pairs of parallel sides. The next subcategory would be rectangles. And we know the attributes or details of that are four sides and four right angles. And it has two pairs of parallel sides. And then the most specific subcategory are squares. And that's four sides, four right angles, two pairs of parallel sides, And underneath here, if you ran out of space, is 4 sides are equal length. Sorry for my sloppy handwriting. Okay, there you go. So that shows you how things can go from really general, down to really specific attributes. General to specific. It's your key to identifying shapes. All right, go ahead and turn the page. So here's where we get shown a tree diagram. It's a hierarchy diagram that connects categories and subcategories with lines to show how they're related. So similar to a Venn diagram, but also different in the way they set it up. So for example, here on the right, we have a quadrilateral, then it's parallelograms, and then it's rectangles, and then it's squares. So at the very top of a tree diagram is our general, and then when we get down to the bottom of a tree diagram is when it's most specific. How are Venn diagrams and tree diagrams alike? How are they different? They are alike in that they shows the relationships between categories. And whoops, that's supposed to be an E. Difference really simple. And I'm going to say it this way. You're either going to have the circle oval combo, or you're going to have boxes. So it's really just the shape which to do it. Boxes and lines. There you go. So for this last note, use a Venn diagram or tree diagram. I like that tree diagram a lot better in order to order the categories below. And so we want to go, as a reminder for me, I put general over here as the top, and then I'll have the most specific here in the bottom. I've got these three to talk about. So I want my most general, well, before I get ahead of myself, let's do 3 boxes. And our most general of the 3 is the polygon. Polygon is just an enclosed figure with straight sides. And now I have triangles and right triangles left. Well, I know triangles pretty basic, is in like a 3-sided figure. And then it leaves me with right triangles, because that's a triangle that needs at least one of the angles being a 90-degree angle. So that's our tree diagram and our hierarchy, with our most general at the top, most specific at the bottom. So pretty easy stuff. All right, so your homework for IXL will be Z2, number of sides and polygons. You may have to look some of these up. Like nonagon is a 9-sided one, heptagon is 7. But overall, it's just a good review of what we call some of those figures. So go ahead and do that, and let me know if you have any problems. You only have to go to 70% to complete your homework.